So let's take a few minutes and talk about the concept of addiction. What is an addiction? Many of my clients tell me things like when you can't control your addiction, or you can't control your drinking, or how much drugs you take. Those are kind of the typical things that I hear. I would like to share with you a philosophy of addiction that's based on relationships. I certainly don't believe that there's any kind of consensus in my profession that an addiction is relationship oriented, but there are lots of people that look at it from this perspective, and I hope this perspective might help you. So we've talked about what balance is. Me in control. I define myself. It's tempting. I like that feeling of me in control, but it's empty. And I want intimacy because it makes me feel good. It lifts my heart, makes me feel good inside. If I go this direction, I lose the independence. If I come this direction, I lose the intimacy. I can never have both at the same time. But what if? What if I could find a way to have both at the same time? Me in control, I define myself. You can't ever take this away from me. Strong, powerful, and I can have this wonderful lifting feeling at the same time. I've declared to you before, you can't have both at the same time unless we cheat the system. If I use a person, a relationship, to get this wonderful good feeling, that person can always take it away from me and hurt me and tear my heart out. But what if I learn to use a substance instead? Something that makes me feel wonderful inside, lifts my heart, makes me feel really, really good. Alcohol will do that. Cocaine, marijuana, methamphetamines, especially narcotics. Wonderful, lifting, happy, fulfilling, sweet feeling. Lift my heart way, way sky high. And as long as I have a stash, I can have it anytime I want to. As long as I can go buy more, I can get what I want. And alcohol is even legal, and marijuana is becoming legal more and more so. I can have it whenever I want to. And you can never take it away and slam me down and tear my heart out, because I'm in control and I define myself. Now I've got life figured out. Now I'm in control. And I never have to go down there. I hate it down there. My guts ache, my head hurts. It's a horrible place. Down there is where I learned some of the most valuable lessons in my life. I learned that if I can hurt that bad, I can hurt the people that I love that bad. And if I never have to go down there, then that awareness will begin to slip away from my conscious awareness in my mind. I'm just not aware that I'm hurting people. I very rarely find people who are alcoholics or drug addicts or people who have addictions that they intend to be mean, that they find any joy or happiness in hurting other people. They do hurt other people consistently. They're neglectful. They're not there when they're needed. They hurt people. They don't show up. They hurt people a lot, but they don't intend to. They don't have desires to hurt people. It's just that they're just not aware of how much they hurt other people. That's because you don't go down there, you don't taste that kind of pain. It will gradually slip away from your awareness, and then you hurt people and you don't know that you're doing that to them. If you are around someone in your life who's in recovery from an addiction, you will hear some very common phrases that have come from recovery groups like Alcoholics Anonymous. You've probably heard the phrase, "Denial ain't a river in Egypt." Probably the most famous, most common phrase that came from Alcoholics Anonymous and other 12-step programs. Denial ain't a river in Egypt. but there's a lot of very common phrases that they're repeated over and over again in 12-step programs. Another one maybe you've heard or maybe you haven't heard is this one. When I started abusing that substance, I stopped growing up. I stopped maturing. That means I stopped going down there. I stopped becoming aware of how I could hurt other people. I just wasn't conscious of it. That means I wasn't growing up and becoming mature. Children do immature things and hurt people. We expect that from children. But when they grow up, we expect them to be responsible. A person who doesn't grow up continues to do irresponsible things, and they don't show up and they hurt people. So then I don't ever have to go down there, and I just don't become aware of how I hurt other people, but people that do go down there become aware of it, and something groans and painful, awful, horrible feeling inside when I realize I've hurt somebody that I love. And that groaning feeling inside wants to be different. And I mature, and I change, and I become a responsible person. That's the difference. So if I don't have to go down there, and I never learned how to go up here to experience intimacy, because this is a very vulnerable place, and I don't like that vulnerability. I still want this. I want the feeling of intimacy, the joy and the happiness, but I don't ever want to be vulnerable, so I never learned how to go here. I never learned how to experience that level of vulnerability to connect to other people at a truly intimate level. Because I don't have to, because I can get the good feeling with a substance, or with a gambling habit, or pornography, or something else that's addictive. And I never have to experience that vulnerability. Now I don't know how to go here. And I don't know how to go down there and have the confidence in myself that that's just temporary. I'm going to get back up here. We just had a little spat. Just a little argument. It wasn't anything serious. And I'm confident that I can get back up here. But if I don't know how to go here, and I don't know how to do that, and then something comes along in my life where I have to give up my addiction, my substance, or my habits such as gambling or something else that's addictive, and I can't have that anymore. Now I go down there, and I have no comprehension of ever how to get out of that ugly, horrible pit. Because nobody wants to share intimacy with me, because I've betrayed them and I've hurt them. There's another phrase that's used a lot in recovery. It sounds something like this. Only the first half of the first step has any mention of alcoholism or drug addiction. The rest of the steps are, how do I become an honest, sincere, good person? Another phrase that you will commonly hear in recovery groups is this phrase. Alcoholism and drug addiction has a lot less to do with how much you drink or how much drugs you use. It has a lot more to do with how well you lie. People who have addictions lie. Now, they want people in their life. The substance gives them most of what they want. It's what they truly are in love with, but they still want people also. And so if you hurt people, then they pull away from you. So you've got to find a way to get them back, to get them to stay in your life, to respect you and to love you and care about you. So how do they do that? They lie. Eventually people can see through those lies and they pull away anyway. And so you have to become a better liar. And eventually people see through those liars. You become such a good liar in order to keep people in your life that for many people with addictions, they can't tell the difference between lying and what is honest and true. When do they get to that point and people see through those lies, very, very serious damage is being done to the relationship. People are no longer willing to go here and to share intimate connection with them. You might be my brother, but I don't like you. Don't want to be involved with you. Just stay away and stay out of my life. Yeah, we love you, but I don't want to be involved with you. And so they push those people away who have addictions because they keep hurting other people and because they lie. Now, I'm at a point in my life where I am down there and I need help to find intimacy. Nobody's willing to do that with me because I have lied to them, because I've betrayed them and I've hurt them. Nobody's willing to come here. I don't know how to come here anyway. Now all I can comprehend is down there. And the only thing that I can comprehend that gets me out of that ugly pit is my substance or that habit in my life, such as gambling or pornography. And I can't comprehend joy, happiness outside of that addictive behavior in my life. Now that person has an addiction. How do I get out of addiction? The most effective program in the history of this world is a 12-step program. The most traditional concepts of a 12-step program begins with something called my higher power. It means that there has to be something or some entity or some person that's greater than human beings, because I've lied and I've not shown up and I've hurt people, and something or somebody has to care about my happiness and success even though I've been very bad. That something is usually referred to as my higher power. Sometimes it's referred to as God or Jesus or Allah or anything you want to call it, but it has to be some entity that is compassionate and forgiving and greater than human beings, because human beings get hurt and they just naturally pull away. But I've got to be able to find somebody who will go here with me and connect with me and practice intimacy with me and caring, loving experiences with me and wants me to be successful, that truly, deeply cares about my success. Once I learn how to do that with my higher power, then I have to go to the next phase, and I have to learn how to do that with something called my home group. For many, it's considered a group of sorry alcoholics. When these people are in recovery, they're some of the finest people you will ever meet in your life. They don't go to church once a week to try to become a better person. Sometimes they go to meetings several times a day trying to become a better person because they're desperately seeking to find an answer to sobriety. And they work at it very, very hard. And again, the objective is to become an honest, sincere, good person, not to stop drinking. They don't focus on how do I stop drinking. They focus on how do I become an honest, sincere, good person. And that's how they stay sober. And they work together, supporting each other, counting on each other, believing in each other. And they learn that I can get really, really hurt when somebody falls off the wagon, and I was really counting on them, and I believed in them. And I got sick, and they were supposed to come and help me, and nobody showed up, and it hurt me. And I learned I can go down there, and I can learn I can come back up here, because people can forgive, and they can learn to be trustworthy, and they can care about each other, and we count on each other. And I learned how to do this with my home group and with my higher power. And then I learned to go to the next phase, the third phase, and I learned how to do that with one person every single day. I share something intimate in my life, something intimate and personal and deep inside of me. I share it with my sponsor. One person on a daily basis, I learn how to share intimate connection. I learn how to open my heart up and how to experience this with one person, with my home group and my higher power. And when I've learned to do that, and learn to be responsible and careful with these people, and learn to manage the pain of betrayal, and people can hurt me and I can forgive them, and they can forgive me. I learn how to do this, and now I'm prepared to be in a real relationship with someone called a wife, or a husband, or a child, or a brother or sister, or my mother or father. It begins with my higher power. It then goes to my home group and my sponsor. If you're in recovery and you don't have a home group and a sponsor and a higher power, you're not in recovery. That's how that works, and that's how I learned how to experience intimacy, how to open my heart up, and how to care. And that's the true process of recovery of alcoholism or drug addiction or any other addictive behaviors.